right, we're ready to get going. This is Sam Buegler, and you grew up in Maple Grove.
Yes, I did.
And your dad is a pastor.
He is,
and
yes.
he was over at Lord of Life. Was he the youth director over there?
Yeah, he was the youth director first and then youth pastor.
Okay.
He was there a long time. 27 years, something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is a long time for somebody in youth ministry.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Mm-hmm. But then your family moved down to Owatonna. Now, how old were you when they moved?
Summer before 6th grade, so 12, 13, something like that.
Okay.
Right around there.
And so you grew up, the first 12 years you were here in Maple Grove, then down in Owatonna, graduated from high school there, and then it was Drake University.
Yes.
Yeah, good school. We have lots of people who went to Drake here. What did you study at Drake?
Yeah, I was a double major in strategic political communication and digital media production, which is just communications. It's just a lot more words. They like to, do that sometimes.
Yeah. Was there a fun acronym that went with that?
Not really. It was just a lot. They mostly just made you say the whole thing.
But they did. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. So you finished Drake and you go where?
I move up to the Twin Cities because I got a job at Global Health Ministries.
All right. So that brings us to Global Health Ministries. But I just got to stop for a minute and comment on your socks.
Thank you.
Which are Cheez-It socks, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So I just got temporarily distracted, and and again, it's Minnesota Food Share Month. It's a reminder to bring those donations in for Cross. Okay. So you, Global Health Ministries, it's a new ministry partner for Advent. We really had no relationship that I'm aware of with Global Health Ministry until this summer when we took a Service and Sunday. We went and a couple times this summer we did service projects, and then we went and had some fun, an intergenerational thing. And we came to Global Health.
Yes.
It was the first time, but you guys have been there for a long time doing very interesting ministry. So tell us what you do.
Yeah, so we were founded 39 years ago now by a group of Lutheran missionaries who went overseas, did their mission work, and came back and still had a servant heart. So they got together and founded this organization for the purpose of sending medical supplies to facilities overseas. So we will send supplies directly through shipping. We'll do consulting and leadership training in these countries and facilities. And then we'll also do our third sphere, which is, grants and sending funding for projects and that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So those are our big 3 areas of focus.
And it's pretty elaborate. When we were in the warehouse, there are so you're sending medical supplies all over the country, but different countries take different things, have different regulations, have different shipping policies. So that becomes pretty involved.
Yeah. It's very complicated because, customs in every single country has different regulations. Some of them won't take single-use plastics if they find it in your container. They'll take the items and they'll just burn it and get rid of it entirely. Others will. Some will take slightly expired items. It's a whole kind of mess. So we have our operations manager, Scott, kind of oversees all that and knows everything there is to know about global shipping, which is impressive because there's a lot.
Yeah, it was overwhelming for me just as a volunteer. In fact, I see a lot of people that went with us, or some people. Does anybody remember going with us to? So Miss Sophie's pointing out. Yeah, they're all over the place. Okay, so tell me some examples of kinds of things that you're shipping and.
Yeah, for sure. So our number one most requested item from hospitals is latex gloves. Because in some of these countries, latex is a controlled substance, so they can't get it, or they can't get it cheaply. So that's a big one for us. We send rolled bandages, hospice kits, and newborn kits all the time. Those are done by, churches all across the country will make those and send them to us. And then otherwise, it's just whatever we get donated in. So it's a lot of wheelchairs, walkers, that kind of a thing. It's sometimes larger pieces of equipment that a hospital might no longer have need for. They'll send it to us.
Like a hospital bed, or would it be?
Less beds. We try to not take those as much, but it's exam tables. It's that kind of a thing. It's dental chairs. We've gotten a few of those in. We sent a couple to Tanzania last week. A couple things like that, those slightly more specific items that we need to do work with and make sure that a partner overseas can use. but that they could really need to build their capacity overall so they can help more people.
I know one of the things that happens at this church, I think it happens at many churches, is that sometimes somebody has reason to use a wheelchair or crutches or something like that, and then they call us to see if we could use them or if we know somebody. And most of the time we're good, but I think you are one of the only places in the Twin Cities that will take things like that?
Yeah, there's not many, but we are one for sure. And so we get 10 to 15 donations in a day from individuals who just found us online. They stop by our warehouse and drop off items. And our biggest thing is we don't take anything that's expired, and we don't take anything that's electric, because we try not to, it's a lot for us to work on converting the power and make sure it all works. So if it's going to be electric, it usually will only take it from a hospital.
Okay. So, and did I mention where, or did you mention where Global Health Ministries is located?
No, but we're in Fridley. So we are right off of East River Road in Fridley. So
and
close.
Has it been at that same location for 39 years?
30 years. We started actually out of a storage unit. There's a picture of our first volunteers packing out in the cold outside of a storage unit. And then we moved into the Minneapolis area Synod offices for about 10 years. And so then we've been in our current location about 30. And we own the warehouse completely. It's all ours. It's really an amazing, amazing location.
Yeah, I know my in-laws were very active in Global Health Ministries. My mother-in-law was a nurse. They'd lived overseas. So she knew how important it was to have good medical supplies and how hard it can be to get. And so she would kind of do that, and my father-in-law would pack the shipping containers. Fantastic. So what kinds of things do your volunteers do? Yeah,
so there's a wide variety. In our warehouse, we kind of have lots of different stations. There's rough sort, which will be where items will come in first, and they'll sort them into categories and then check for expiration dates there. There's fine sort, where you make up individual boxes and then enter that into our inventory system, so we know exactly what's in the box, exactly where it's located and where it's going. And then there's linens, so dealing with hospital linens, with gowns, newborn kits, hospice kits, all that kind of stuff is in an area. And then there's other just general tasks that need to be done around the warehouse. There's receiving. We're always picking boxes out in our warehouse for our next shipment, because last year we sent out 16 40-foot shipping containers. So that's, more than one a month, essentially. So we're constantly just grabbing boxes for the next one and then getting ready to load it, because loading is a fun and intense process.
You have to have a heart for it, because I would be very impatient with it. But some people, like my father-in-law, love doing it. So God bless them.
Yeah, a bunch of volunteers who come in just to help us load, and they love it. They're very, very good at it. It's quite impressive how they will be up on ladders, shoving and pushing boxes into these containers, so we can fit as much as we possibly can onto it. It's quite fun to watch.
That's what I remember in conversations with them. It's like, nope, we can get one box right around here, we can get another one right around here, because you don't want to waste any space at all. So I have lots of questions. They're going to have lots of questions. So if you have questions, write them down. Ms. Sophie is going to come, but we got a few minutes for you to think of those, because they're popping. So what are some things you really need that you don't get enough of?
Ooh, that's a good question. Gloves, like I said, are always in need, and same with rolled bandages. Those are just, cotton sheets that are torn into 3-inch strips and then rolled up. Those, the hospitals go through them so quickly, and they're an amazing, amazing ministry. We have, like I said, people from all over will send them to us. There's I'm trying to remember. Her name's Marion. She's 98, and she's in an assisted living facility near here, and she rolls bandages every week for us and then gets someone to come bring them to us, and she gets her whole community involved. So those and newborn kits are kind of always in demand. We're always trying to get those out, because these people need them, and they really love them when they receive them.
What's in a newborn kit?
Yeah, so it's a bar of soap, a onesie, a couple cloth diapers and pins, a little knit newborn cap for them, things like that. That's all wrapped up in a towel, kind of like a burrito, and then tied up with a thing of cloth, and then we get them in our warehouse. We're actually trying to do, last year we sent out 15,000 of them, and this year we're hoping for 20,000. So It's a service project that's done by youth groups, it's done by churches on Sunday mornings, it's done by individuals, all these different kind of things. They'll put them together and then we'll pay for shipping for them, or we'll figure out a way to get them to us.
Give me just some of the countries that these things go to.
Yeah, so we do work in 16 countries total, all across Central America, India, Papua New Guinea, and then mainly in Africa. We ship directly to 4 of them. We ship to Madagascar, Tanzania, Liberia, and Zimbabwe. And then we're adding in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Cameroon this year to our shipping. So we're, constantly growing and adding, trying to send more as much as we can.
And the regulations for shipping to certain countries have got to be so different and hard to keep track of. Is there a reason why you can ship directly to those countries?
I think there's a couple. I don't entirely know. From what I'm aware of, it's mostly ports are better to ship to there in those. Those countries also, their health system is run by the Lutheran Church. And so we work with the health system to make sure that it gets distributed out from there. Other countries, their health systems will be able to work with Lutheran clinics and things like that, but their health system might be run by other government organizations, and so it's a little harder for us to get in there. And then it's all about relationships too. In these countries are primarily places where we've done work for the past 40 years. So we have long established relationships, and we're able to just use those as well as we can to send.
I think some of those, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of those the Lutheran Church has a much longer standing relationship, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, and then that makes it a little easier if we've been working in partnership. Great. Volunteers, we talked about, one time, like what we did, where we went for one afternoon, but then you have long-term volunteers. What kinds of things can they do if somebody's thinking about volunteering?
Yeah, so do you mean in terms of in country or here in the warehouse? Okay, great. So we have volunteers. We had over 300 volunteers last year who came regularly. And so they were a lot of the rough sort, fine sort kind of people. It's a lot of retired folks who have some extra time, who come in between 9 and 4 any day of the week, and then they're able to really have a community here with us. They are helping to, like I said, pack up boxes and inventory, make sure we know exactly what's going in all of them, all these different kind of things, very similar projects. But it's always needed. We couldn't do the work that we do without our volunteers. We have a staff of 10, and so it would be just impossible for us.
Yeah, and when you think about be the salt, you are the salt of the earth, this is exactly what people do, Yeah,
I see our volunteers every week, they're constantly just that salt, and then I see just the light through the results, because we have these such long-standing relationships with these countries that they're able to send us pictures, send us videos, all these different kind of impact, and so we're able to see the supplies that we packed up here in Minnesota be in a country, be in the hands of a new mother in Liberia. We're able to see all of these different things, and it's such a joy and a blessing to be able to see all of that. It's really, really impactful, and so our operations director likes to say to our volunteers that your fingerprints, when you come in, you pack a box, you leave your fingerprints on that box. Those fingerprints are across the world. They end up in so many different places and are so needed and loved by the countries and facilities that receive them.
What's your particular role? You're one of 10 on staff. What do you do?
So I'm the volunteer and events coordinator. So I set up volunteer groups. I work with them to make sure that they're all ready to go when they get in the warehouse, giving tours, paperwork, all that fun stuff, and then working with our events. So we have a fall symposium that we did, and then we're doing a spring celebration, so that'll be in April. So I'm kind of working on all the details for that, because it's going to be, it's actually called Fingerprints, celebrating the hands that heal. So it's just going to be a night of celebration. So it's all that kind of logistical work, making sure we have speakers, food, location, all that jazz. And then doing things like this, which I love, being able to go out in the community, speak to groups, speak to churches, and just tell our story, because I think it's so important, and just, I love being able to spread it, as much as I can.
Yeah. So events in the news. There's a lot happening with the war with Iran. How is that going to impact your ability to get some of these medical supplies?
Yeah, so that actually has kind of thrown us into a little bit of chaos, which is fun. We were going to be sending a container to Liberia at the end of the month, but over this past weekend, we got a call from, we use a freight forwarding company who kind of books all of the travel for the container, like airline tickets. You know, they have to be here, 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 so it can go from truck to train to boat to train to truck, you know, all through this different process. And so we got a call that our container to Liberia, basically if we didn't pack it and send it within the next 2 weeks, we don't know when the next time we could be. Because they blocked off the Suez Canal, and so all of our shipping traffic has been diverted down around Africa, and so now we are picking boxes very quickly for Liberia. We're getting all 2,500 boxes out of the warehouse. We're getting them into our area, staging area, and then next week, Thursday and Friday, we're going to be packing, and it's going to be gone on Sunday. So that's just kind of global shipping in general. It's just always a little chaotic, but this one has definitely caused us to have to sprint.
So if there's somebody that's experienced with packing, would it be a good time to come and help, or do you not need more volunteers?
Absolutely. Even if you aren't experienced in packing, it's still a good time to help.
Okay, so this is kind of an all hands on deck because we got to get this shipping container out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Our biggest need will definitely be next Thursday and Friday, but right now, like I said, we're kind of going through, we're picking down boxes, and it's a very efficient process, but there's still a lot of steps because we have to go through all of the boxes in our warehouse to make sure we know that we're sending the right ones and that we've got everything that we say we're going to be sending.
Right. What I remember is we had all these barcodes and we were scanning, and then if it came up on the machine that wasn't the right thing, it could throw off the whole shipment, right?
Exactly, yeah. So we always, when we get our list, it's got every single box that's on there, and so we go through, we're scanning boxes. If it's a yes, we'll put it aside in a yes pile. If it's a no, we'll put it back up into our warehouse, and then we have to go through, make sure those are all entered into our system so we know that they're actually on the container when it comes to packing. So then we can send customs in the country a list of every box and everything that's in the boxes, so then they can go through it, they can check it when it gets into customs, make sure that what we say we're sending, we're actually sending, and then go through that whole process there.
So you do have a little bit of a critical short-term need here. Mm-hmm. I was going to ask, long-term, what is maybe one or two of your most pressing needs that you're looking at regularly? Yeah, so I mean, I think, like I mentioned, newborn kits, that's kind of a big, long-standing thing for us. We're always, we have our goal of 20,000, so we're constantly out trying to push those, trying to do whatever we can to get those in, because these new mothers are so in need of it. That's a big one for us. Trying to think, what else do we have here? So did I already ask this question?
Yes, maybe. Partially.
Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Okay.
It's a lot of the same general kinds of work. We're just trying to make sure that we can keep this going and that we're able to sustain, because we've been going for 39 years and that's amazing, but we have to make sure we're constantly getting new volunteers in, that we're growing our base, we're growing the awareness, so that way we can keep going another 39 years.
So we're going to go to questions here in just a second. Anything else you really want to make sure we know?
Let me think. I think it's really important, again, for me to stress are the importance of volunteering for us. Like I said, 10 staff members. Last year we had over 300 regular volunteers, and we had over 700 volunteers who came at least once. So that's groups like here. And you know, it's overwhelming, the amount that we do, because we're in these 16 countries. So we have all of these, I think we did 75 projects, not including 20 odd consultants last year. We worked in 175 health facilities all across the globe. So it's really wide spanning. And that's what I didn't know going in. But we have our hands kind of in a lot of different things all over the globe, and it's just a lot, and we always need help.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing ministry.
It is for sure. It's been incredible.
Yeah, thank you for doing that as your vocation.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Sophie, what do we got for questions?
Yeah, first one we have is, on average, what is like your daily shipping in like a day, a month, a year? Do you have numbers?
Sure. Yeah. So, in terms of shipping, like I said, we'll do 16 shipping containers in a year. We're hoping to do that again this year. So we don't send out anything outside of those containers. What we will do is there's a couple, because sometimes we'll get too many wheelchairs or mobility equipment that we can't send. So we'll also send out, there's a nonprofit called Chosen from Pennsylvania who will send containers that they'll come pick up stuff for them, and another scientific equipment liquidators will come and get some of the bigger pieces of equipment that we don't use. So generally, there's probably some form of container that people are taking stuff out, either through one of these other groups we work with, probably every other week. But then the main thing is our 40-foot shipping containers that, again, it's about every 3 weeks, every once a month. Just kind of depends on how many we're doing in a given year.
Personally, is like a shipping container like the size of like a semi truck or like two semi-trucks?
Yeah. So it's that 40-foot shipping container that you'd see, on a train that might go past. So it's that full size that will pull right up. Semis will bring them in, and then they'll back up into our warehouse, and we have a loading dock, and so then we load it from there, which is very convenient for us, so we don't have to, bring boxes out through the cold and the snow. Now we just get a little strip that isn't entirely sealed, so it will just rain on us ever so slightly as we're loading, but it's okay.
Do you ever get too much of something?
Yeah. So like I said, we'll get too much mobility equipment, and we'll need to go out through that way, or we'll get in items that are expired, and so then we will. We have a Department of Waste to Revenue that is where everything that's expired will go first, and so our manager there, Don, he will work to try and sell it on a secondary market. So we have, I think, 7 buyers across the U.S. who might be a vet clinic, or they might sell it themselves after that. So they'll buy it from us, or we'll also send items to Ukraine because they don't care if a suture is expired. They just need that stuff as much as they possibly can. So we'll work and we'll send things that way as well, because we try to waste as little as possible. So when we do get in items that we can't use or that we have too much of, we're recycling it or selling it instead of just throwing it away.
That's interesting that you can get things into the Ukraine, and wonderful that you can get medical supplies into the Ukraine.
Yeah, we don't send it ourselves. There's a organization called Stand With Ukraine MN. They will come, we'll just set boxes aside for them. They'll come pick it up themselves, and then they have their channels and they know what they're doing, and so they're able to send it. So it's really relational. It's about this partnership that we have with them, with all of these different places across the U.S., with the health facilities. It's such a relational ministry.
Yeah, okay.
Do you ever visit the countries that you ship supplies to?
Yeah, so I personally haven't yet, unfortunately, but we'll send consultants overseas, and so sometimes those consultants will be GHM staff who have experience. We sent Scott and our co-director of consulting, Christine, over to Madagascar at the end of last year. They went to go just check in on things, see how the shipping was going, all this kind of stuff. And then we're planning more trips for this year, hopefully for a couple staff members who haven't been overseas, because for us, it's important that our staff is able to experience it so then they can better tell our stories. Because having that firsthand experience is something that is super valuable and profound. So we usually send staff a few times a year, different staff members, and then consultants are going out quite often for us.
Where's the closest place that you've sent things?
Ooh, that's a good question. So you're testing my geography. The closest place we do work is probably Nicaragua. They're one of the ones in Central America we do work with. When we get in items that are within a year of expiring, so 3/4/27 and closer to today, we'll put them aside for our suitcase ministry, which is where travelers who are going overseas can fill it out online, and then we will pack them a suitcase full of medical supplies that they can take. So I know that, there's an organization called Mission Jamaica who will come and they will get a bunch of suitcases from us, all that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit closer. But one of those 4 countries, Liberia probably is the closest one we send shipping containers to. But I might need to brush up on my geography a little bit for that one.
Yeah.
I guess that goes straight into this question. So do you send straight to like hospitals, or do you also send straight to just like people, families?
Yeah, so we pride ourselves on door-to-door is what we call it. So it comes in the door at GHM, and it has to be in the door of a hospital or rural clinic overseas. So it's quite often we'll be able to work with the Lutheran health system there, and they will know what these hospitals need, and then it's talking back and forth, again, relational ministry. So we work with them, and then we ensure that, because a lot of other organizations might just get a container through customs and call it good. We make sure that all the supplies in it will go to a hospital, or if it'll go to this centralized location, that then they're able to distribute it. And we make sure that it might end up in this rural clinic that serves 60 people, but that box of gloves still shows up there, and we're able to make sure that it does and that they can use it. So we're really proud of that we can follow up and make sure it gets to where it actually needs to go.
Do you have locations that you're providing supplies for that don't have a hospital? They just have like a clinic, or maybe even a field?
Clinics for sure. Little mission clinics all across. They'll just put in a request through their health system, and then we can kind of send it out through that way. There's other clinics in other countries that will send us a project application, and then we're able to work with them if they need solar power, or if they need this piece of equipment that maybe we can send to them, or we can buy in Africa for them, so then we can ship it to them from Africa, so it doesn't have to go overseas. So it's a wide variety. It can be larger hospitals, but it's absolutely little rural clinics all the time, or a single health worker. We do scholarships. We've worked with scholarships for nurses who go, all over the country and do what they can.
How long does it take for something to leave your door and then get to the door of the place you are assisting?
It takes, from the day an item gets in to the day it gets into the facility, is 4 to 6 months. It kind of varies because you never know. With global shipping, stuff can impact it all the time. But we tend to say 4 to 6 months, which is why we try not to take anything that's within that year of expiring, since we don't want it to expire in the container as it goes overseas, that then they open it up and say, hey, this is expired, why'd you send us this? We're gonna fine you for it. But generally,
Does that happen in the country?
It does, absolutely. Wow. So we have to make sure our customs list is ready to go, because customs, in a lot of these countries, there's a lot of turnover, and then when there's new people, they have to try and show, they have to prove that they're finding things, that they're doing their job well. So they look carefully, which means that they will take longer, which means that there's, port fees and custom fees that start to rack up because it hasn't left, all these different kind of things. So we have to try and make sure we are as prepped for everything that they could look for in terms of the boxes with our manifest and everything, and that we're all good to go, so it will have as smooth of a process as we possibly can, so it doesn't take, the 6, 8, 10 months.
Who's paying the fees?
We are.
Okay, so in addition to supplies, you're raising money.
Yep.
What kind of money do you need to run the organization in?
$30,000 per container, typically.
Times 16.
Yep. So that's fun.
Yeah.
So we're constantly, working to try and lower it as much as we can. We don't pay based on weight. We pay just based on sending a container. So that's why we stuff as much in it as we possibly can. But waste to revenue is really important for us, because it just provides more revenue back into the building that we can use straight for our programming. It's really helpful.
Yeah. So you have that cost. You have the cost of renting your facility. You have a small staff.
Well, we don't actually rent our facility.
We
own it. We do.
Okay.
We own it completely ourselves.
That's
because it's been 30 years. It's really helpful for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Do we have other questions?
Absolutely. What's the weirdest thing you send over, or the most unusual?
The weirdest thing.
That's a good question.
Or maybe the weirdest thing you received that you can tell us about.
We get in weird stuff quite often. What was it? It was like a little fake bird that chirped. And I don't know why, I don't know how it came in. It just came in, and so then we kind of put it off to the side, and then we have we couldn't ship that, unfortunately.
Did it chirp medical advice? Or?
No,
Okay.
it just made noises. But people will drop off that. They'll drop off, medication and other things. If they just put it in a box, we just take the box and then we sort through it later. And we can't send medications because that's a whole liability issue. So we are just kind of then have to deal with it, get rid of it as best as we can.
Okay, yeah, so you probably have a whole list of please don't donate this.
Yep, we have a list of do's and don'ts that's on our website, and then people will call all the time and ask, hey, can you take this tubing? And then we'll check and we'll say sure or not. It just kind of varies.
Okay, so if somebody could call you with a question and you would help them. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you do pickups?
We do not, unfortunately. If we did pickups, it would be just a whole logistical problem for us because our staff, can't do that. We're all working around the warehouse. We're all in the building. We don't have a truck, anything like that. So we ask that you come drop it off to us. There is a other nonprofit in the Twin Cities called Mano a Mano. We'll refer people to them all the time for hospital beds, that kind of stuff. Because they also do pickups, so they're able to do it. But we personally, we just
You're
can't.
not equipped for that.
Yeah.
What is in the hospice kits that you send out?
The hospice kits are similar. It's a towel. There's petroleum jelly is in there. A pick comb is in there. A toothbrush. Just these items that they might not have that just help to make life a little bit more comfortable for the people in palliative care. It's more specific than the newborn kits are because these facilities need different things, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head. It's mostly a lot of that toothbrush, kind of just gloves. Gloves are important.
So comfort care as people are dying, which is palliative care, yeah.
Yep.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah.
This is one of the most questions we've ever gotten. It's fascinating. I'm just watching people hand them to Sophie, and so this is really inspiring, good conversation. I know, it's wonderful.
Do you take bandages?
Absolutely, yeah. All that we ask is that you just make sure they're not expired.
Okay.
Because a lot of the items you might not think will be expired, but the manufacturers will put a date on there anyways, so they can sell more of them.
And they
So
just need
that's-
to be sealed in some sort of...
Oh, interesting. So the bandages don't really expire,
Nope.
but they're trying to sell more. But
Exactly.
then if that box with that expiration date gets on
Yep.
that, oh gosh.
But sometimes, that happens with gowns and dressings all the time, is that there's a gown in a package that says it's expired, and it's fine. What we'll do is we will take it out of the packaging and then repackage it separately in our boxes, and then we just say, oh, yep, this is, it's a gown, it's dressings. They look in there, it's right, it gets the job done.
You mentioned the newborn kits have hats. Do you have specific patterns for those hats, or is it just sort of baby
There's instructions on our website for them specifically. I think they ask for a certain size. That's all that I know for sure. There's on our website, there's a whole thing specifically about it, about what you need to do and how to make them properly for us.
Cool. And then lastly, I did get a note that said they love your socks.
Great.
And then a lot of different iterations of sort of what do you enjoy most about this job? What's your favorite part? Why did you choose it?
It's the people. I love the volunteers. They're all amazing, and they're so dedicated. And getting to know them, because a lot of them will come weekly or monthly. So just developing those relationships with them, I've loved. And then, like I said, it's being out in the community, being able to spread the story, because I'm very passionate about storytelling and spreading the message as much as I can. So I love experiences like this, getting to tell people, getting to talk to people, getting to host a table at a convention or something like that, and just trying to develop GHM get us out more into the community as much as I can.
So we're done. That question's
We're
great.
done.
One of the things I really appreciated when we were there was when we were done with our volunteer time, we had lunch, and then you guys came and did a devotion with us. And it was just such a thoughtful, lovely devotion.
Yeah.
So that really stuck with me. So thank you for that. Would it be okay if I prayed for you and for the
course.
ministry? Let's
Absolutely.
pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for those people 39 years ago who had a vision to start a ministry. We thank you for all the people who have been volunteering in so many ways. And we just pray your protection over this crate that's going to be packed in a couple of weeks. And we pray for continued financial health for this ministry and the volunteers that they need, and just all the many hoops that they have to go through to get people just basic medical supplies. Just watch over them, empower them, strengthen them, and we just thank you for this ministry. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Good.